The Seat Leon has been around for over 2 decades. It's based on exactly the same MQB platform as the VW Golf, Audi's A3 and the Skoda Octavia. Yet, this new model brings with it loads of new features, such as fully digital dashboard, new engines, and now there's a plug-in hybrid version for the very first time. Desirability is a big deal for new car buyers. It's why cars like the BMW 1 Series, Mercedes A-Class and the Volkswagen Golf sell quite so well. But what if you consider yourself smarter than the average Joe? If you want something that mixes all the space, quality and technology of those cars, but in a more understated package, something a little bit more affordable, the Seat Leon is definitely something you should look at. There's a good level of trims, several engines and 2 body styles to choose from, a hatch and an estate. There's even a Cooper Leon hot hatch variant. So more than likely there's definitely a Leon to suit your needs. On the outside, the designers have taken an evolutionary approach to styling. Sit it side by side with the old one, and the family DNA is still apparent though. There are enough changes and enough tweaks to tell this car apart from its predecessor. Styling is subjective of course, but overall it's a very successful redesign. The front end looks a little bit more sophisticated, but maybe has lost some of the sporty or dynamic edge. The F4 model, which is the sportier one, has got an extra trim which finishes off this estate nicely. This is the plug-in e-hybrid model, and apart from the charge port at the front and the subtle badges on the back, there's very little to tell this hybrid version apart from its petrol or diesel siblings. In a world of fashionable SUVs, the Leon's traditional hatchback estate shape is the most interesting, and Seat has livened things up at the back with the distinctive rear light clusters and a full-width light bar. Technology is a strong selling point these days, and Seat have given every model 2 screens in which the graphics are crystal clear. The main dials and the central infotainment screen wouldn't look out of place in something costing quite a bit more. The temperature control is now a touch bar below the infotainment display, and some might argue it's a touch too far. For some reason, the controls don't light up at night, but neat ambient lighting does lift the mood, and the quality is much improved over the previous layout. Inside the cabin there are some hard-wearing plastics, but there are soft-touch materials where you need them most, such as where you rest your elbow, and in some cases like on top of the instrument binnacle, which you never really touch at all. It's plush inside and easily a match for the latest Golf, and even has some Audi-ness about it. There's LED headlights, 18-inch alloy wheels and metallic paint, and the infotainment screen inside comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, plus air conditioning, 4 USB-C ports, cruise control, rear parking sensors, and F4 models include tweaked bumpers and lower suspension, along with LED rear lights. There's also the safety kit, such as autonomous emergency braking and the one we'd rather not have, lane keep assist. The Leon has been long famed for its sharp handling, and it's safe to say that this latest version doesn't disappoint. There's just something about it that inspires confidence. There's a more direct connection between the car and the road than you'd find in most family hatchbacks. The steering is quick and it reacts really nicely to your inputs, and the brakes, while sharp, don't feel too grabby. All of this means that you can drive this car nice and smoothly, which is not only a boon for the driver but passengers too. That overall feeling of safety and security is only enhanced in the F4. Thanks to the slightly lower suspension, it corners with even less body roll than the standard model. The trade-off is a slightly firmer ride, but nothing that even higher mileage drivers won't be able to live with. Like all Leons, it's punchy and refined, and the hybrid system does a pretty good job of mixing petrol and electric power, even if it is a little gruff when it runs out of electricity. Overall though, it's just a really easy car to live with. The Leon has spent most of its life in the shadow of the Volkswagen Golf, but this time around it feels like a genuine equal. It comes with loads of tech and plenty of kit. It's good to drive, and no matter which one you go for, it should be cheap to run too. The Leon really feels like the car people will actively want, rather than the one they'll just simply accept because it's cheaper.